Here we are in Champ Select. So these will not be the same bans or pick order. I will review it since we are doing this as a regame, as a courtesy. So Epik ban, the actual bans, Blitzcrank, Lee Sin, and Lulu. FXO, their bans in order, Evelyn, Amumu, and Zed. Epik did in order pick up Kha'Zix, Twitch, Sona, Maokai, and Kasten, and FXO in order, Nunu, Shen, Syndra, Caitlyn, and Jace on the last.
Yep, so we'll see what they can do. Jace in particular also really helps their team a lot. They had Shen in the previous game, which gives them a little bit more survivability. They have the shields, the double shield with Shen and Lulu in the previous game, but against the AoE, it really didn't matter. There was just so much burst damage on Epic's side. Now having Jace having the acceleration gate on their side, whereas it was on Epik the first game, it means that they can kite a little bit more easily. Epik can't just force and engage with that acceleration gate.
I think Epik just banned out Kha'Zix for themselves.
Oh, okay.
So this is going to be...
That's fine. We'll get right back into it. But having that Jace, you know, it gives them a little bit more survivability. They don't have to worry about the hard engage that Epik had in the previous game. So they have a very safe team. Both teams are very even in this situation. Epik has a pretty scary team. Once they get going, they can snowball very quickly. Both Kha'Zix and Kassadin have that roaming potential and can just completely shut down the game when they get those opportunities. But FXOpen, if they play a very safe game, then they have that potential late. They have a very strong late game team.
Also, we looked into the Masteries last night. We'll look at them again as we're getting into the game. But we saw Caitlyn, well, Caitlyn Nunu off on their own. They're a very big push-oriented team. They're designed to take that tower rather quick. And we saw in JRT's Masteries, he had the extra % damage on the towers. And we've talked a little bit before about FXO, you know, when they played in the qualifiers, going up against Team Marn, and a lot of that early game pressure really just made them crumble. So we'll see how it turns as they have a turn going for that early aggression, and hopefully just less poo. Thank you, FXO.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. Getting that Kha'Zix pick on Westra is definitely a strong one. You know, just a ridiculously strong assassin right now. He has so much burst damage. I know we'll kind of see. The last time they played this, like when we saw this last second game, it was a very slow game at the beginning. Both teams were playing pretty conservatively. We got to about 7 minutes into the game with no kills, and it was also an even farm game. So it was a very even game at the point that we had to stop off, actually. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of changes come into this game, because there is still some early aggression. Epik, the kind of team that they have generally, they need to wait a couple of levels. They need to get, you know, into their ultimates. They need to get a couple of levels in order to have enough damage to force fights. So they're still going to be playing pretty passively for the most part. And then, you know, FXO, they have a similar team where they want to have that passive play early on. But I don't know. I'd be interested to see if anyone tries anything tricky this game.
And it's really... It was really a matter of being fortunate that they did go with that passive play, because if there was a kill early on in that early, you know, first 10 minutes, this regame may have not actually been able to happen based on Riot's rules. So thankfully enough, not a whole lot of action, and this regame was actually made possible because of it.
Yep, that's definitely true. So we'll see what can happen. I do think it's interesting. I'm wondering if Caitlyn took the barrier last night. I can't remember if she took barrier or cleanse, but she is going with the barrier now. So JRT7 going with the barrier, which is going to be very strong in lane. It also helps protect against Kha'Zix, and so that's going to be interesting. If Maokai or Sona is able to hit Caitlyn, though, she's probably going to die, and that's kind of dangerous. They do have the Shen for the backup, so they do have really great separation for Caitlyn, can protect her pretty easily. So maybe, you know, he just knows he doesn't need that cleanse. But it's going to be cool. I actually like the barrier to an extent, because Kha'Zix, he has so much range, there's nothing you can do to avoid him jumping on you. I mean, he just dives right into the back line. So having that barrier, rather than going 100 to 0 or 100 to 5%, you know, you still have a little bit more HP left. So definitely going to be kind of cool in fights.
I remember when the barrier was actually first put into Summoner's Rift, and when we played our ranked games, you know, the IPL team, like you're our AD carry, you use barrier quite a bit.
Yeah,
now that we're a few weeks in, Do you still hold the same opinion on like barrier on ADs as opposed to things like cleanse or ignite, or is it really situation specific?
I tend to go cleanse or ignite now. I don't go heal though. I like the barrier over the heal. You know, heal's still very strong, but its barrier's not affected by ignite. And it does a little bit more. So it protects you more as your AD carry. And really, usually your support is tanky enough that they have enough lane presence. You don't have to worry about having to use the heal to help them. So heal used to be pretty popular on AD carries. I don't get it anymore. I usually get the barrier. But cleanse is still like king for AD carries. If they have a lot of CC, particularly CC in the bottom lane where they can try for aggressive ganks, you need that cleanse. And then ignite if you want a little bit more burst. But you know, barrier is still definitely strong.
So seeing as heal is no longer going to be on the AD carries, is there still a place for heal on supports?
Well, not right now because they have too many. They have too many summers they would rather have. But you know, maybe down the line, you know, maybe if Flash is nerfed, or I don't know. There's a number of things. Maybe we'll see something. There's always the possibility for, you know, heal Flash cheese, I guess you could say, coming out of various lanes.
Heal baits,
right,
all over the place.
We'll see. It is going to be interesting to see what happens in this game, though. And like we had said last time, is Syndra not going with movement speed? I thought she had movement speed last time. Maybe just on the Lux.
It was just on the Lux yesterday, which you know, we talked about it a little bit too. Lux, you need that movement speed to continue the pursuit, to follow up with the combo with the extra damage.
Okay. Well, it's going to be cool to see what can happen because there's still a lot of potential. You know, I think it's still going to be a passive game for the first couple of levels. I don't think we're going to see anything too unusual. It's going to be similar to last night's game, but they still need to be careful in the bot lane. You saw last night Twitch and Sona have so much burst damage, particularly level 2. The level 2 burst on Twitch and Sona, once Twitch gets that expunge and has the slow, he's able to toss that slow satchel. He has a lot of burst damage, and then Sona does as well. So that's actually enough to combo Caitlyn down from 100 to 0 if they hit it appropriately, like the full combo.
I like this. Actually, I don't think I've ever actually seen it like just a mix of the flat and the per level on the magic resist. It is a little bit of an extra boost. You know, nice. It's a nice transition from early to late game on those runes. Very nice.
Yeah, magic resist runes, they actually turn over pretty quickly. They're pretty efficient for per level, I mean. But it's just the reason you tend to get the flat is just, I don't know, you know what you're getting in those early levels when you tend to really need it. But I don't know. I'm curious to see what both these teams can do. If we see any early invades or anything, the team for FXO is, you know, a little bit stronger in that level 1 situation, so it might be kind of dangerous for Epik to try anything, and I don't think FXO's team is strong enough to force a kill, so they probably won't do anything either. It'll probably just sit back, be a passive game until both team is ready to group. In particular, you know, see what kind of pushing. I think most of the presence for this game is once again going to be in the bot lane. It's going to be about, you know, Caitlyn, Nunu versus Twitch and Sona, and that's going to be kind of deciding the game. And mid lane and jungle is all about supporting that bot lane, and whether or not JRT and Fear Me can get a quick push if they can try and drop an early turret and then, you know, go from there.
Yeah, Fear Me being the sub here for tonight, so that's really the only change. The only major change to the equation here coming into game number 2. Same champs, but there is one sub coming in here. I'm
kind of curious if FXO might try a lane swap today because last night they didn't. They had a strong team for the lane swap, and it also Kha'Zix. West Race, he's actually running mana regen on his Kha'Zix, I believe, because it just allows him to lane very effectively. And Kha'Zix tends to be a safe lane, but in the 2v1, it would be a little bit too much for him. And if they could slow him down a little bit, that could be nice. And they could also maybe get some early turrets. You know, they didn't try it last night. They just went for those standard lanes and sent their lane bot.
Right.
But Jace has that potential to 2v1 and very easily. And they already know last night that they didn't win the lane with Caitlyn and Nunu. Twitch was even in farm or slightly ahead of Caitlyn in that bot lane. So if they're not going to be able to win the lane and they're not going to be able to push very aggressively in against that Twitch Sona, they might decide to, you know, switch things up a little bit. But probably going to go for just standard lanes once again.
You know, and sometimes that's a telling of some of the experience, some inexperience that some newer teams have, that they're sometimes less willing to try, you know, some unconventional things like the lane swap or other way out strategies like having ADs in mid or going crazy stuff like double jungle. You'll see a lot of the newer teams, they will play standard just like for their first few months while they get their feet wet.
Yeah, no, it's really not about being comfortable with trying unusual things. It's that really, as a new team, your focus has to be on just getting good at the basics. So, you know, that's kind of what you focus on, is you just run, you know, kind of standard AoE comps or whatnot, and just, I don't know, play what you know already in solo queue. But everyone's kind of set up for a nice, you know, easy start. Nothing too unusual here. Yeah, lots of traps going down, lots of wards for FXO.
As they should be, and that's keeping all the vision they need over everywhere on the map. And this ward being rather vital too, just in case the Din decides to go for something like an early level 2 in mid, or if he tries to go for an early invade over onto the red after he's done with blue. That is good placement.
Yeah, no, it will help protect Syndra a little bit in particular against that Maokai. Try and get some vision on them. They do want to be careful there that they don't fall susceptible to a level 2 gank, but after a couple of levels, their lane should be pretty safe. Maokai, he's not going to get that much done in the top lane. He could maybe, you know, in the mid lane get a little bit of damage, but really it's a tough gank in the mid lane in particular. So we'll probably see him just, again, continue on a safe jungle path. Just look for, you know, fast levels, try and hit level 4 quickly, and then wait until Westrace is level 5 to level 7, and finally has enough damage to actually do something against Jason. And then we might see him pressure the top a little bit.
And we saw Dan do this last night too. He's actually going for the early Philo Stone instead of grabbing the machete, and he did that with the Amumu too. Pretty good success, actually. So we'll see if it works out for him once again here in game number 2.
Well, it's interesting. He went for the Philosopher's Stone on the Amumu. Then the second game, he went for the machete on Maokai. And, you know, we were kind of wondering about it. I think the Philosopher's Stone, it's a little bit more passive play. With the machete, you can clear a little bit more, you know, quickly, and I don't know, you fall a little bit behind in gold. You don't fall behind, but the Philosopher's Stone, it might be indicative of him trying to go for a really tanky build again. And if he gets that really tanky build, like we were talking about earlier, Sunfire and Warmogs, you get so much health from those items, and with the changes to the AD items and AD damage, it makes it difficult for them to respond. And there's that quick level 2 burst. They actually kind of avoided it last night. So the Caitlyn Nunu, they avoided it last night for the most part, but this time, you know, they're able to get some damage in that bot lane. So quick advantage for Cat 8 and Pure Golden Boy.
Some damage going down to Salsa in the mid also. Westrice looking for an exchange, but a hammer will keep him back in the middle of the lane for now. Navitar, he's not too far away either. He's finishing up the small golems.
Look at all of the wards for these teams, because Jace has a lot of protection up and down the river. Shen's coming up for a gank on Kha'Zix, actually. But you see, there's a lot of wards for Epik as well. They have wards all over the place. So they have great vision right now. They're looking for that really passive play. There's 3 wards in bot river alone. And then there was 1 in the jungle. It was a 60-second ward in the jungle to protect their red, make sure there wasn't a steal from Shen.
Navitar staking up here in the top lane, waiting for Westrice to make an appearance. Hopping into the bush, will find a ninja taunt, keeping him behind. There is the hammer. Meanwhile, mid lane, we'll be going back to that in just a second, but the ignite ticking down onto Westrice. That will be a kill. Let's go back real quick to the mid lane, though.
Well, Solsei's too low to do anything, first off. So when Maokai's coming in, he doesn't have that backup from Kassadin. Oh, man, that is so incredible. Wow. I was like, I assumed that Maokai was going to be coming mid, but what a heads-up play from Chu Lin.
Surprise, Dan.
I thought we were too far behind. I didn't think it was coming right away.
I'm sure, Dan, that was just a very scared moment for a second, because there was the ward, right, which is actually now expiring onto the tri-ramp, but that's definitely a surprising kind of poop your pants kind of moment.
Well, really heads up play. The second it happened, I'm sure he was over it, but yeah, definitely a really nice play, and getting that blue and red buff mid. So 2-0 early for FXO, whereas last night it was an even game up until 7 minutes. That's huge, in particular because the auto attacks from red allow a lot more efficient harass against Kassadin, and Syndra already gets free harass against Kassadin. Kassadin, against most mid champions, most casters, does very well because of his passive. You use the passive, which is the damage reduction, and then also you have the silence, so you can walk away. Well, Syndra outranges him easily. She just throws off the stun, walks up, gets some quick damage, and then walks away. And now she's going to have the spam ability to be able to do that.
And also one of Kassadin's big weaknesses in those early levels, he is out of mana. He will have to back, giving way more free fire time to Syndra there in the mid. So if the kill wasn't already enough, if the first blood gold wasn't already enough, look at the farm difference also already. 20 creeps up. That's essentially just giving a second kill to Chu Lin.
Yeah, no, it is very dangerous in that mid lane. So we'll kind of see what Syndra can do with it, because it's interesting. Syndra, we had mentioned last night, was released at the same time that Orianna and Zyra were really popular mids. And they're both those kiting mids. That's what Syndra is as well. She has that similar kiting playstyle. But the benefit of Syndra compared with them, whereas they're a little bit more AoE, Syndra is much stronger for that single target burst, and getting those early advantages is going to give her the damage that she's going to need to pick off champions like Kha'Zix and Kassadin in those early team fights.
Chujulin going back to base, 1,800 gold. That's a needlessly large rod if you really want it. And
probably rushing the chalice and then getting a little bit more on the top of it.
Could be doing that.
Goes for the magic pen.
Oof. And you know, haunting guys this early on. I mean, we're at the 6th, 7th minute mark, and Kassadin, you won't usually see someone. He does have the passive, which does resist some of the magic, but really, when you have that much magic pen this early on, that's brutal. That's just absolutely brutal.
Yeah, no, that's definitely really strong, and it's interesting. Now he knows he's going to be able to get his blue in 7:15. They have an advantage, so they don't have to worry about a steal from Epik, and so he doesn't necessarily need it as much. Cat, oh man, he almost could have gone in for that. If Golden Boy had been able to hit any damage onto Caitlyn, then the Expunge and Ignite would have definitely been enough to take him down. But just being safe, doesn't force anything. He's going to continue to farm. But Syndra, she knows she's going to be able to secure the blue for the most part, so she just goes for that burst damage. So she wants that control that she's going to get from it. Dan does ward it, so she does have to watch out. They do know it's warded when she goes for that blue. They could try and maybe cut her off, Kassadin and Maokai, and kill her on her way back.
There is an attempt there, but the ward in the brush plays by Navatar keeps Dan in behind the Ignite. Will it tick? Will get the kill onto the tree? Yes. Dan Din going down once again to the Syndra, securing that blue. And that is West Rice trying to keep anxiety off him. The Ignite going down onto Jace.
Oh, he missed.
Ignite is mutual. Will the Ignite tick down? Will we take out the Jace? Also, no, the health pot is being chugged. He will live.
Yeah, so barely missing on the Q. I thought he was going to pay for it, but still had enough damage. He did a nice job positioning himself and then knocking Kha'Zix back into that turret. So the nice early advantage that Shen gave him up top, that's huge. So he, he has a lot of damage. Kha'Zix is still pretty dangerous and tends to be pretty safe, and he is going for that tier build, which we've seen on some Kha'Zix recently. A lot of times you used to see him just rush damage, but tier gives him a little bit more sustain in lane. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think that Jace is going to be able to abuse Kha'Zix. I mean, Jace can push him into the turret, so he can try and roam off of it. But what it does mean is that Kha'Zix will be a little bit more passive in that lane. He's not, even if he's going to, it's just going to turn it into a farm lane, basically. West Rice won't try for any, early kills or anything like that against Jace, so that he's probably not going to snowball, because he can't go in for those kills, because he's probably just going to die from his disadvantage. And
Dan Din's not going to be visiting very often top lane at this point either. He is behind by quite a rather large margin. He's died twice already. He needs to concentrate on just getting those jungle kills, getting those NPC creeps. You see he's bought the machete now to try and catch up on that just for now. Cat 8 and Golden Boy here. Down bot, there's Dan making an attempt there in the mid. Ultimate throwing down. Chujulin taking way too much damage though, and the Ignite. Navatar though with the ultimate gets in just barely. The Sphere keeping Shen silenced. He will not be throwing the Vorpal Blade, keeping the Kassadin safe. Ultimate from Sona going down onto Firmi here in the bot lane. Exhaust onto Cat 8. Flashes away, but Flash in response. JRT wants the kill. He wants the revenge. Sticking in the bush, getting the procs on the passive. Will it be enough? Yes. The Pacemaker getting the reach you need.
He went back in. He was invis. He could have gotten out of there, but he thought that maybe he'd catch Caitlyn off guard, get some quick damage, and Caitlyn just hits the built-over Peacemaker, gets him down pretty easily. So, nice play there from Caitlyn, but I'm a little bit surprised that Twitch decided to go back in, and that's, partially just the strength of that Caitlyn Nunu. They were able to get some quick damage onto Twitch, and then Nunu's just tanky enough. He can just chase down with the snowball, with the exhaust, completely shut down all of their damage, and Caitlyn can chase him down for the kill.
There is the pursuit of Jace, but a hop away from Kha'Zix keeps him away from harm. But you saw right there kind of the advantages of both of these top laners. You have a great wave clear from Kha'Zix. He's not quite able to take out the entire wave just yet. He needs a little bit more oomph, but look at the damage capabilities of Jace this early on, 10 minutes into the game with a Brutalizer.
Yeah, he is very strong right now, but man, look at this mid lane. Salse has turned this lane around now, and I was a little bit surprised that last fight, Syndra actually didn't use her ultimate. It was up when the gank came in, but just couldn't quite get her abilities off fast enough. So the initial CC, she had to get off her stun and everything, and maybe she died before she could, get off the ultimate. So that would have been a trade, but instead, Salse gets the blue, he gets the kill, and now, you can start to see that strength of Kassadin shine, particularly since he's getting close to that catalyst. It's going to give him a little bit more lane sustain and have a little bit more health where he's not going to insta-die to Syndra.
Chujulin actually decided for the home guard boots. I mean, I see very rarely the upgrades to the tier 3s.
This early on.
But this early on to have home guard, and that was a result of that mid gank coming in from Maokai. That was kind of an unexpected kill. It's like, well, I wasn't expecting to die that early on. I should probably make this investment just in case. And
I'm impressed that you actually knew that was home guard. I would have just looked at it to figure out what boot it was. But yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. It allows him to get back into lane quickly. So if he's looking for lots of recalls, but it is a gold investment. It's not a trivial price.
It's about 450, I believe. Dan on the tail end, getting smacked by a whole bunch of balls from the pit by Chujulin. Another kill in the bin. Number 3-1 right now. That's Syndra.
Yeah, so a lot of burst damage. That's the big strength of Syndra right now, and it makes her very dangerous. Navatar, he's actually looking to come down bot, but he doesn't want to run through the ward, so he's actually going to just dash over the wall potentially. It will put it on cooldown, but he actually backs off. So maybe he was waiting to see if Maokai was making, or I guess, no, they just killed Maokai mid, so that's not it. I don't know, so just considering a gank, didn't go for it.
Sona could have been going for a ward further up the river, and you saw Sona actually head on in. It's like, well, are they going to continue, or are they actually going to keep going up?
Maybe.
And just to have the coverage, just to have the guard of Shen, because if you get off that taunt, that could have been a huge turn of events, snowball, all the auto attacks. That would have been a guaranteed kill if they decided to go up the river. Fortunately enough for Pure Golden Boy, he did not.
Yeah, so they do back off. Now we're starting to see that push in the bot lane. Maokai is there as well. They have to watch out the slow hits from Golden Boy. Actually, there's the ult as well. So Sona and Maokai, they chase him down, pick up the quick kill.
Unfortunate. Caitlyn goes down. Nunu cannot do enough to keep her safe. The ultimate did slow temporarily, but right now Fearme knows he has to get to the safety of his turret. That is a 3-man push now in the bot lane for Epik Gamer.
Yeah, so they will be able to push down that turret. Kassadin, he's actually going to jump right into Chujulin.
Being caught in the brush, the slow and the stun. The ultimate is now up for Syndra, just waiting for the extra balls to stack in. There's a Shen ult to keep her safe underneath the tower. Nice teamwork coming in from FXO. Yeah,
a lot of burst damage on that Syndra. Really doing well in that mid lane. 4-1 so far, so that's really scary. They can't allow her to snowball like that, but it's going to be difficult to stop her at this point.
Nearly 2K in the lead over Kassadin. That is dangerous.
Well, she has enough burst damage that she can just walk into someone and insta-kill him. So, that means ganks are difficult, because if they gank her, then she can just turn onto Kassadin, insta-kill him, or, kill Maokai or something. But it really means they need to try and catch her out of position. So aggressive wards, and then, when she tries to force a fight, force her to farm. If she farms, then that's okay. But force her to farm. If she tries to fight and pick someone off, then Epik needs to be able to retaliate in some way.
Right. But the danger, though, is in the event Syndra does fall, because there's about a 2.5K lead that FXO has over Epik right now, and nearly all of it is right there invested in the AP mid. It's great to have leads this early on, but there is that risk you run when all of it is front-loaded on the one champ on your team.
Yep, so we'll have to see how that's going to progress. Salse getting that blue Syndra as well. So both of them will be safe in that mid lane. Salse's at that point where he can, start to consider roaming. Again, they have a team that needed to get some early levels, and that's why they had to be a little bit more passive early on in this game. And FXO, they've taken advantage of it. And I don't know, it'll be interesting to see if there's any changes now to Epik, and if they start trying to be more aggressive and make plays.
Syndra level 11. Also level 2 in the ultimate. It means it comes back up just a tad bit quicker, and it is now back up here in the mid. Just need to wait a little while for that mana to come back. Dan sneaky getting into the brush on the lane.
No, they saw him.
Oh,
He's picking him off. He saw him with the minions.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah, and Shen's down bot as well, so they could, try and press something. They know it'll be a while before Maokai's there, and JRT, it looks like he's kind of trying to bait right now.
Yep, net going down onto Twitch, just to make a little bit of space, just so you can continue the push. and give the positioning for Shen there in that bot lane. West Rice upgrading those wings. That's a lot of extra range. Cat 8 going in. Flash taunt from Navatar, but Flash away evades all the damage from Caitlyn, but still the pursuit continues. Nunu ult going down. Shen tanking like a boss, and now it is Sona's turn. A few more auto attacks, one more double kill for JRT in the bot lane, and everyone gets out alive.
And again, you see the strength of that Nunu just completely being able to shut down all of the damage from Epik. But actually interesting, the barrier as well, using it to tank the turret. So, you know, it allows them to be very aggressive along with Shen and the barrier, and they pick up a couple of kills. So they're snowballing the bot lane, which is really what needed to happen this game. They need to be able to take control as Caitlyn and Nunu, and, you know, try and start to shut down Twitch.
And also, you look at the items between the ADs. There is a small advantage of gold for GRT. And last night, game number 2, that was not the case. It's actually relatively even. Same thing with game number 1 for quite a while. So this is the first time we've actually seen a lead between the ADs in this series, and we'll see where JRT takes it. Top lane, Ignite going down onto Jay. Same thing with Kha'Zix. Tries to flash away, but the Q, just too much damage from West Rice.
Yes, that's definitely huge. They already knew they were going to give up the dragon. They're not even trying to contest it. So FXO is going to be able to grab that. But knowing, you know, that it's around that time, and they knew that bot lane left up, so they're like, okay, they're going for the dragon. It allowed West Rice to go in just full ham on Jace, because he knew there was not going to be any retaliation from the rest of the team. So that's actually a really great play in the top lane. Is once you know the positioning of the enemy team, just go in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it. Just you had 2 orbs up. 2 orbs plus the ultimate. You do the math, that is a dead cast in there, and it didn't even need the stun. You had the lift, you had the throw, just for the icing on the cake. Did not even need the stun.
I think Salse was a little bit surprised, actually, because he could have ulted out of there.
He could have.
It was up at the time, but he decided to just hang out. I don't think he thought that much damage was going to be coming off from Syndra, but he can't underestimate her anymore. And
now that's a 2,500 gold lead that Syndra has over Cass, and that is nothing to laugh at. Ult from Caitlyn, front-loading more damage onto Cat 8.
Maokai's here too.
Maokai is there. Dan Din coming in through the jungle. Fearme gets caught, but just because Cat 8 is low does not mean he can't do more damage, but does decide to play it safe, walks on back over to the tier 1 and bot.
Well, it was a scary situation, but there wasn't any mana on JRT 7, so they could have potentially gone in for that. The concern is one snowball and like a flash auto attack would probably have taken down Twitch, so they had to back off there. Cat 8, he has a little bit more HP. He was able to heal off of those golems, so they could go in here.
They did have the ward over by the small golems, though, so they know Dan Din's coming back in for approach number 2, and rightfully so. JRT backs off. West Rice with the leap on his anxiety. Hammer throws him back. Navatar, where's the taunt? Misses right off on the side. That does give West Rice another opportunity for more free damage. Pops the ult, goes invis for a second, and that is enough time. Actually jukes out of the way of that Jace Q. Second one will hit him, though.
Yeah, just had to kind of guess it there. Shen wasn't able to hit it.
Yeah.
But that gives Kha'Zix a slight advantage in that top lane. So he's in a safe spot. You know, his flash is down right now, so that's a concern. But we'll see if he can start to do anything against Jace. He's strong enough for fights at the very least. He has a lot of damage now. And you know that they have a lot of single target burst. So the goal is for them to just, jump in, assassinate one champion, get the reset on Kha'Zix. He can jump back out, and Cassidy can jump out as well, and they can kind of reset the fight after just a single kill.
Now approaching the 20-minute mark, and the gold gap has widened. 4K lead in favor of FXO. Pause coming through. Really hope that's not a connection issue. I would really hate to have to deal with that again tonight, but hopefully that is not the case. We will take a quick update on the items and the farm between these two teams, and we commented a little bit early on, like the first 5 minutes of the game, how Choo Choo Lin had a 20 creep lead. Not only is there a 4-kill lead, there's also a 70 creeps up. Over
68, so yeah, that's basically 70.
I'm rounding.
Yeah, no, that's 70. Yeah, he's really far ahead right now. He's very dangerous. The concern is he has sustained damage with his kiting potential and his Q-E combo, but he also has burst damage. So that's very scary, how much control he can put over in fights. And considering that Caitlyn is very safe generally as an AD carry, Kha'Zix alone can't take down Caitlyn. However, she does. They do of Kha'Zix, Kassadin, and Maokai. So the three of them combined, plus Twitch's range is slightly longer than Caitlyn's with the ultimate proc, should be enough to take down Caitlyn. But we'll see. If they can't take down Caitlyn through the Shen shield, then they're in for a dangerous spot. Like the late game for the Caitlyn is just going to win it once Caitlyn gets all those items. And with that early advantage, she's well on the way. So if Caitlyn gets an early advantage, then that late game, that single target, just damage with the Blood Boil, it's going to be just really dangerous. And also you have to consider that Syndra is so strong. But we are seeing the quick Warmogs. So, they have some potential there. We talked about how Dan, he was going for that Philosopher's Stone probably to try and rush Warmogs or Sunfire. So he gets the Warmogs. That means that he's going to be tanky enough where Syndra and Caitlyn can't take him down. So that's going to allow him to force fights now. This is the time for him to get involved. He's 0-3 right now. He hasn't been involved in the game. He's been just passive so far. And they knew, all right, they didn't want to force anything early in the game. They've been passive. Now is the time for Dan to be involved and try and, man up and take over this game. Yeah, and Navi's actually had a little bit more involvement with his team than Dan is, of course. He actually hasn't died yet. But you look at the gold, it's a very minuscule 200 gold lead that Dan actually has, but that is a result of the investment into the Philosopher's Stone and also the ability, well, since he's died, he's unfortunately gotten back to base a little bit more often than he normally would. But you'll see, though, Shen is also going for that Warmogs build. He wants to be on the front line. He wants to be one of those factors as to where and why these team fights end up the way they do. And FXO, they've got a lot of, and you mentioned before, they have a lot of damage. Caitlyn going to be huge in the late game. One of my concerns about Syndra was the late game. Syndra's pretty much nearly only single target damage, all the big hitting stuff. But when you're this fed, though, it doesn't even really matter. Yeah, no, it is going to be really dangerous for them to try and deal with Syndra, but we'll start to see. I mean, FXO, their team fight team is just really strong. Epik, they need to start picking people off. Like that's the strength of their team is to pick people off at this point in the game, in the mid game, with their roaming, and then also in team fights to just insta kill someone with those assassins. But they need to start making plays because the late game and the kiting potential for FXO is just very, very strong. So I'll say spotted out by the small golems. Maybe a pinch here on Chuchulin. She's got to be careful. He doesn't even want to deal with Syndra, really, but trying to get down the bot lane, and that's the thing. He's trying to make those plays happen now. Yeah, but we have seen, granted, Kassadin on his own can't do jack against Syndra right now. Kassadin and Maokai, we've seen that combo. We saw that gank happen earlier. Could be something a little bit more there. It failed earlier. They had the one kill, but it failed the one time, though. It's still one. There's still one. That's true. It's still one. There's still one on the board. And at this point in the game, when you're so behind in farm, anything can help. Remember, one kill, that's about the equivalent of 20 creeps. That does reduce the gap a little bit. It does get some more income flowing. This is scary, though. Syndra's down bot. Shen, he's walking down the bushes. So FXO, they're already at a great advantage. They're going down bot. Wow. Cat 8 dropping almost instantly. The burst from the ultimate. One more hit and he's going to die. He actually gets invis and gets out of there. But Chuchulin chasing down Pure Golden Boy picks up that kill. And now they get the kill. They get the free turret down in the bot lane. And that's the concern, is that they're going to just start abusing Epik and pushing them off of those turrets. Yeah, and now all that Syndra needs to do is just buy one more tome, and then just the ultimate alone will be more than enough to kill Twitch. This is the scary part. Westrice, he gets the kill up top, he's split pushing, but FXOpen, they're so strong right now, they can just bully them off of these turrets and keep on going after him. JRT7 taking a lot of damage from the turret, but he has the barrier, he has the Channel as well, but Salse jumps back in, picks up that kill. Because JRT was taking that turret, was a little bit too out of position. Right there, right prime for the orb from Kassadin, and now Navitar's in a bad position. Chuchulin with the shove gets the stun onto Twitch, clears enough time for the teammates to escape. I honestly think Cat was a little lucky there that Chuchulin didn't hit him with another QW, because I think a QW would have been enough to kill him. But you just saw all of that burst damage. That was just a single EQ combo from Syndra. Just did that much damage to Twitch, and that's really scary right now. And also keep in mind, too, take a look at the mini-map right there. That is Westrice. Split pushing while all this madness is going down on bot. Yeah, we did say that he was splitting because there's just no way for him to fight right now. They aren't strong enough. to go in on FXOpen. So he's just getting what he can up top. He was able to get the kill and push the turret a little bit. And you know that'll help pull him back into this.
And at the very least, you're keeping Jace busy. He's not going to be joining with the rest of the team fights because Jace, that's a lot of damage. He's got a Thirster. He's got the Brutalizer. That's a lot. That's a lot of AD.
Yeah, it is, but he's still a little squishy. I mean, that's just standard for Jace. Like, it's the standard, really strong build, but he's still vulnerable to Kha'Zix. And that's actually interesting. If he starts getting in that melee range, then Kha'Zix can potentially you know, go in for those kills and control that split push.
Hopefully all that chat is coming in. Hopefully there's no connection issues like there were last night. Let's take another look though at the items. We didn't actually get to go through every single player. You do have the Thirster and the Zeal popping up there for the Twitch 4Cat8. You have the glove though over on Caitlyn. We may actually seeing that Static Shiv come in from actually either one of these players.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really strong item upgrade for a Zeal. It'll be a Zeal first. We'll see if he upgrades it immediately, but Static Shiv is just, I don't know, it's just a strong item. It's a new item, and because Phantom Dancer was nerfed in a number of ways, Static Shiv gives you a little bit more movement speed. It's a little bit cheaper, a little bit more burst damage. So I wouldn't be surprised, but he's actually going for the Phantom Dancer. He just wants that pure attack speed. So you get the attack speed benefit and the crit, a little bit more crit with the Phantom Dancer.
Salse caught in the mid, nothing to do, could not get away from the orbs of Syndra, but with everyone displaced, with Caitlyn going back to buy, that is a vulnerable tier 1 in the bot, and Epik just swoops on in and takes it free and easy.
I honestly wouldn't be that surprised, though, if Epik, in upcoming fights, they just ignore Caitlyn and don't even worry about her, because she's going to be really tough for them to deal with, and just try and burst down Syndra, see what they can do there. That's still going to be a tough, you know, cookie to crack, particularly since he's going Warmogs. Oh my gosh. Sorry, this is Chu Lin. She's one of the few female professional LoL players, but she's so far ahead that she has the damage, and now she's going for Warmogs as well, so that they can't kill her. And that was like one of the only things they could hope for. That's what I was just saying.
I remember
is that Epik is going to try and assassinate her.
Anxiety off on the river, caught out by Westrice. You have the leap from Kha'Zix, forcing the flash out. Flash in response will not vote to go underneath the tower to try and grab that kill. Westrice will stay safe.
Imagine there, Chuchulin just decided to recall, but if he had just canceled that recall and stood there, and Westrice had just leaped and flashed right on top of Syndra,
dead,
and Syndra just turns around. Yeah,
could have been it. That could have been it. I will say though, Warmogs is now complete.
I like it. I mean, Warmogs is so strong right now. It gives you so much HP.
It kind of reminds me of when I first started playing, because when I first started, like 2 years ago, I would play a lot of normals, and something I saw a lot of, and it may sound silly, was Warmogs Annie, actually. And, you know, this is back at a time when, you know, granted the damage on Annie wasn't quite balanced. You hit the late game, she was pretty much just a stun bot. And she was just unmovable in those fights with the shield.
Yeah,
so I kind of like it.
That can be really strong, and particularly since she already has a lot of base damage. But Chuchulin's going to be able to cut him off, I think. There's the Shen taunt. Pure Golden Boy definitely going down here.
Yep, Sona has nowhere to go, following up on that taunt. Westrice throwing missiles over the forest wall, and just one sapling. You can make it. No.
Yeah, you see Twitch is splitting, so Cat 8 right now, he knows that they can't fight with them. Caitlyn's actually coming over to deal with him. I'm a little bit surprised. I would think Caitlyn would want to stay with the team, but he wants to stop that push. He knows the rest of them are strong enough, you know, to just fight by themselves, and we'll see if he actually goes in on it. It looks like he's trying to be tricky against Twitch.
There's Twitch running away from the Caitlyn down there in bot lane, takes a little bit of damage, but will be safe. Plenty of damage on the tier 2 here in mid, below half, and a lot of that was Jace just plugging away with that cannon. But Chuchulin still out in front. Dandin leading the charge. I don't think he's going to be able to catch up. And everyone from FXO, they're happy with what they got. They didn't quite get the tier 2, but it is significantly weakened, and the next time they swoop in, that is a dead tier 2.
Yeah, they're going to be able to push on them very easily, and that's the concern right now, is Epik knows they're not strong enough to face them in team fights. It's only a 3k gold disadvantage, though, so they're holding off very effectively, and they're waiting until they are going to be strong enough. Ooh. So, you know, we'll kind of see if they can turn this around. Right now, though, FXO, they want to push aggressively because they know that Epik can't stop them, but give it a little bit of time. This could be a quick turnaround. I mean, you saw the Azubu Blaze, or if you guys saw the Azubu Blaze versus Azubu Frost Game 4 in OGN, it was absurd but it seemed like Azubu Frost had the game completely locked up. It was a 15-6 kill lead. They had pushed in, taken 3 inhibitors, and Azubu Blaze just kept even and just passively farmed the whole game until they were able to turn it around.
May see it here. It's only 25 minutes, and it's still
it's nowhere near that far gone.
It's nowhere near that far.
It's still a very even game.
Yeah, and we're just now getting into the thralls.
Particularly if they can figure out a way to kill Syndra. That's honestly their biggest hurdle right now.
So I'm thinking, what other options that could arise? You do see Casson. He is now building into the damage. He had the Rod of Ages. How fully is that actually fully stacked up now? Almost. Well, it's getting there. It's
almost full.
It's almost full. But he does have the Nuclear Large Rod. That's plenty of damage that he needs. He should be able to do quite a fair amount in those fights. But if Twitch can get in, if the wave, if everything works out right, where Caddy can get a clear shot on the Syndra or have the right positioning with the ultimate to get in, could actually have plenty of damage. But hey, a Warmogs, it may be a lot of health, but is nothing impossible. Caitlyn ult going down on to the Kazakhs, frontloading more damage. Westrice down to half. Dan Din, not with the team, off on the side, does have the Banshee's Veil, chooses to Twisted Advance on the Fear.Me, throws down the ultimate also, just as a safeguard. Pops it back up, and the pressure's too much. Cat 8 off onto the side, but the mid-tier 2 is now gone for Epik. Where is Twitch going away from the fight?
Oh, but you see the quick poke. They're actually chasing him down a little bit. They know that FXO is a little bit split. They walk into the Caitlyn trap, so really good positioning there. But Salse's still trying to get in for a slow so they can try and pick someone off. It's
still waiting for Twitch to actually rejoin with the rest of the team, and this is the prime time for a counter push. Westrice leaping out in front, wants to eat a turret shot real quick. And where is this turret at mint condition? The tier 2 of FXO.
Yeah, and because of the poke from FXO, I don't think that Epik can try and bully down this turret, but they were just trying to see if they could catch someone. Now they'll probably be forced to back off here, right? They're going to push it up to the minions up to the turret. Once they hit the turret, they'll back off, switch to another lane, most likely.
And we're talking about trying to focus down Syndra, trying to get her out of the fight. And at the very least, the Banshee's Veil is quite a bit of an annoyance to deal with the Din Din.
For it.
They are going for it, throwing down the Maokai ult to front with more damage, but Pure Golden Boy with the ultimate actually gets the kill onto the Caitlyn. Shen going down, so will the Jace. Choo-Choo win. The ultimate cannot get the kill onto the Kazakhs. The Ignite, the heal from Sona keeps them topped off, and that is 4 quick kills underneath tower.
That is scary. Right now, Epik, they just hit the sweet spot. So they know they've been keeping the gold even so far. They haven't even really been fighting with FXO. They've been allowing FXO to push them around. But now they know they have enough damage. Kazakhs just finished deep into his build, and they just go really quickly for the burst damage. Really great play from Epik. 4 for 0. Now they get the Baron off of it. They do have to worry about Syndra coming in, but they're tanky enough, then they should be able to turn on her. But we'll see. Syndra could maybe get a couple of kills here.
I would hope so, but the Baron's still not quite done yet. Throws a ball just to see where things are at, but no steal will be happening there. Knows that a 1v5 situation is not the best situation by any means, and even if there was a kill to happen, probably would have only been 1, but unfortunately not. There will be no Baron steal for FXO today.
At this point in the game, based on that last fight, Epik is stronger in team fights if they can close the gap.
Yes.
The strength of FXO right now is if they can continue to kite and just back off of Epik. But they know if Epik can close the gap, then it's over. And it's very easy for Kazakhs, Maokai and Kassadin to close that gap. The concern is getting Sona in position to get a good ult. And if Sona gets a good ult, then that's very dangerous for them. But FXO, they still have a lot of great single target bursts, so they need to be able to just back off of Epik. And Epik just did a really good job of forcing a fight that was to their benefit. They just waited until they could get FXO in the right position and then just combo all of that Kazakhs damage along with Kassadin. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens now, but it's an uphill battle now for FXO despite the early lead.
But FXO, I think they're taking the right approach. You see Jace has actually got his Guardian Angel. You see Shen got the chain vest. You see Caitlyn has a chain vest. There's going to be 2 more GAs as soon as the money comes in for FXO. So if they can just kill time, keep Epik off of their tier 3s, keep those inhibs safe, they might be able to kill enough time to get that income to get those purchases.
Yeah, no, those GAs will definitely help against Kha'Zix in particular, because then they can be a little bit more aggressive against him and not have to worry about him getting the reset. So he won't get the reset on his, abilities. But we'll see what they do here. It's funny. It's a 4v5 right now in FXO's favor, but they don't know where Twitch is. So they don't know that Twitch is invis and hanging out, or they think that Twitch is maybe invis with the rest of the team, and they don't want to engage because of it.
And this is the kind of psychological play we see from a lot of Korean teams too. There is the burst. Golden Boy, the first one to go down, still manages to get the ult off, managing to get the entirety of FXO. Cat 8, though, off safe on the side through the jungle. Anxiety comes back up, and the GA will not help him here today. That is a 1 for 3. I would trade the support for 3 kills any day, and only the 2 carries remain. There's no one to protect them, and Epik edges out the tier 3. They will take the inhib. It's just a matter of, will they continue the push here?
Well, Epik in particular, they did a really good job of waiting to fight and not allowing FXO to engage until Twitch was right at the cusp there. And there's the engage once again from Westrice. Wow, the quick burst. That's what Assassins can do at this point in the game. It's very hard to deal with. Chuchu Lin, he will go down as well, and they're going to be pushing the Nexus here. It's going to be tough to deal with them. This is probably GG 2-0. There's the surrender or the leave from JRT, but Epik in that last fight, they did a particularly good job of waiting for Cat 8, and FXO tried to force it, and if Twitch wasn't there, they actually would have won that exchange, but because Twitch came in just at that last second, they had already used their gap closers to engage on the front line, which meant that they couldn't engage on Twitch. He was just out of their reach, and that allowed Cat 8 to get off some quick damage and set up Kha'Zix for the kills.
I want to actually take a look at that fight into tier 2, because that was just a fantastic play. Wait for Dan Din to throw down the ultimate and actually go in on the FXO. We'll slow it down,
he's so tanky. It's the Warmogs plus his ultimate. He's hardly taking any damage. The Banshees as well. So he's hardly taking any damage from the turrets, and it's allowing him to force this engage on JRT, and just the range that Kha'Zix has. Kha'Zix gets over the long diagonal of that wall, which is not something that you expect most champions to be able to clear. Usually that's a safe spot for Caitlyn to be. Usually,
but when you have a Maokai and a Kha'Zix as dive buddies, the Sona ult actually got the killing blow on that one. That was incredible. Incredible play coming here from Epik. Fantastic. Dude, that's a top 5 right there.
Usually the strength of Caitlyn is being able to survive those exchanges, but and get out of range. But that's just how much range they have as a team. It's really impressive. And once the team fight started, you saw Syndra kind of fell out. They weren't able to get those quick single target kills. They need to be able to pick up a kill and retreat, and Epik just did a good job of all-inning as a team. They just showed all their cards on the table and went hard for it.
And this is also fantastic practice for Epik coming into this weekend.
Yeah. It's actually interesting. Nick and I picked Epik to get out of the groups. Nick did in particular. He had to convince me otherwise. I was going for some other team. But Nick convinced me.
I'm actually still picking Fear and GGU, actually.
Oh, really?
I am. I'm gambling.
Fear. We have Fear as well. I think Fear is very strong right now.
Well, here's the thing. All I remember is that I remember way back when IPL 5 qualifiers, and we did the one thing. We bet against TD. And we saw what happened, and I told Nintendo, I will never bet against you again. Well, it's Nintendo. It's the same old guys.
That's true.
It is, and
I'd just be concerned because they only have 2 of the same players.
They do.
Maybe 3 if I'm wrong. It might be 3. Yeah, it is 3 along with Pixel, I think. No, I don't know. I think it might only be two of the same guys, but their team is really hurting right now, and I haven't seen them compete in a while, so that's not a good recipe right now.
But the way I see Nintendo and those guys, they actually, to me, they kind of operate a little bit like we were. They have a little bit of a boost whenever they have a change in roster. They just perform just a little bit better for like a few weeks, and that actually may be enough for them to actually clear the gap.
Okay, yeah, so, we'll see.
We'll see.
That's going to be an interesting pick, but congratulations to Epik. They win Killing Spree night number 1,
yes.
So just 2 nights away from getting that Killing Spree. They will get every win more and more, prize money. So it's a nice little salary in and of itself if they keep going. That would be cool to have Epik start off with a nice Killing Spree.
That would be. So $300 goes to them, and if they manage to win 2 more than every week, that prize pool keeps going up by $100, and we'll see what we have in store. But that is it. Thank you guys for joining us for the conclusion of this, the first Killing Spree of 2013. I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah, we are done. Thanks, guys. Have a nice night. Go play some LOL. Watch the tournament this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Congrats to Epik. I had them winning. I was a little concerned at the beginning, but now I can feel a little bit confident in my bet.
All right, thanks, guys, for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.